Hello everyone, welcome to the When It Worked podcast. You're with your host Julian Leahy. Today I'm joined by the fantastic Jeremy Shapiro from the Bay Area. Welcome to the show, Jeremy.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So we're going to play a game of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire today, and then we're going to talk to Jeremy about his awesome things that he's doing in the Bay Area of California, his Mastermind in particular, and anything else he wants to talk about. But first things first, let's get the questions up and the music. Okay, the first question for Jeremy. Oh, by the way, Jeremy, you have 3 lifelines. You can poll the audience. You have 30 seconds to Google or a 50-50 split if you're not sure. First question. Acting legend Meryl Streep made her film debut in 1977 in what Oscar-nominated film? This is a hard question. Julia, The Godfather, Apocalypse Now, or The China Syndrome? Do you know your 70s movies, Jeremy?
I do not, but I know my Googles. I'm going with A, Julia.
You're going with A, Julia. How did you know that?
I use my good friend Google over here, like you suggested.
Oh, okay. Well, we should take off your lifeline then. Let me see.
Oh, that was a lifeline?
Yeah. That's all right. I'll give you a freebie. All right, because that question actually is way too hard to be first up anyway. So, all right. Julia is correct. I do help people with one question normally, so I've got no problem letting you have that one. Continuing on, these are hard questions today. Drugs known as beta blockers are commonly prescribed for which of these conditions? Depression, coronary artery disease, hypertension, or diabetes?
Well,
the lifelines
you've
got left a 50-50 split. Poll the audience, and you've still got your Google. Do you have any idea without a lifeline?
I'm leaning towards C and D.
So what have we got? C is hypertension, D is diabetes. Well, I'll tell you what, Jeremy. Diabetes, they give you insulin.
Right. So then I'm going to go with C, hypertension.
Locking in hypertension. That is correct. A little bit of a friendly nudge, but I don't really think Jeremy needed it. Continuing on. Actually, a combination of 3 tunnels, the so-called channel, runs underwater from England to what country? Germany, France, Wales, or Belgium?
I'm going with solid B for France.
B for France. Well done. Well, Jeremy's starting to look pretty good. Had a bit of a tough start. All lifelines still intact. Formed in 1998, 30 Seconds to Mars is a Los Angeles-based rock band led by which weird and disturbed actor? Obviously, I wrote this one with a bit of a bias. Pete Davidson, Jared Leto, Machine Gun Kelly, or Justin Bieber? 30 Seconds to Mars, LA band led by which weird and disturbed actor? Any idea?
I don't think Pete or Justin were born in 1998, so
True.
We're going to take A and D off the board. Which brings us down to Machine Gun Kelly. That feels like his era, or Jared Leto, but which he's more disturbed actor, maybe. I'm going to go with B, Jared Leto.
There is only one disturbed actor that fits that bill. That is Jared Leto. Well done. You're doing very well, Mr. Shapiro. Related to Ben Shapiro, maybe? Not. No. Okay. Due to the way the player's legs move, the difficult soccer maneuver known as the scissors kick is also called a what? A kung fu kick, a 12 o'clock kick, a bicycle kick, or a spin kick? This is a football soccer question.
Yeah. I was thinking that was something like Round the World, which isn't on there. So I'm going to go not kung fu kick and not spin kick, but maybe a 12 o'clock kick or maybe a bicycle kick. So I'm saying right. B or C.
I think we need to use a lifeline here, Jeremy. We've got a 50-50 split. Let's try that.
Okay, let's use it.
What we have left is kung fu kick or bicycle kick. One of those was favored by Jeremy.
I'm going to go with C, bicycle kick.
Bicycle kick. is correct. Well done, Jeremy. You've made it to the $1,000 safe zone of funny money. The check will be in the mail. Continuing on. An 18th century diplomat, British diplomat, Baron St. Helens, lends his name to a famous American what? River, mountain, lake, or canyon? I don't know what that gesture means.
That gesture meant what I was thinking. However, I know it's not a river or a canyon, and it's not a lake. But I do know that Mount St. Helens is a mountain out here on the West Coast.
Mount St. Helens. Okay, now are you confident enough to lock that in without a lifeline?
I am.
Let's do it. I like it. That's correct. Well done, Jeremy. Jeremy is looking pretty good. I think he could go all the way. Not many do. In 1983, February 11th was declared National Inventors Day, fittingly the birthday of what great American? Thomas Edison, Nikola Tesla, Henry Ford, or Alexander Graham Bell? Which inventor? Which was a great American? Born on February 11th.
Any of these could fit the bill, but I'm leaning towards Edison. I'm going to go with A, Thomas Edison.
Let's lock it in. I think that's a pretty good answer, because that is correct. Well done. In fact,
they're all inventors.
They're all inventors. I don't think they're all American, though. I don't know about Tesla or Alexander Graham Bell. The other A and C definitely are. Henry Ford and Thomas Edison.
Nikola Tesla wasn't a well-loved person, so I'm guessing we wouldn't have a holiday. Henry Ford, we got a car, but we don't think of him as an inventor. No. But Thomas Edison, I feel like, embodies that.
He's the
try and try.
Yes, very good.
That seems celebration worthy.
Did he do the light bulb, Jeremy?
His team did, yeah.
And who was it that also was involved and they feel like one person got ripped off of the idea?
That's the tale as old as time. Every time we have great inventions, there's always somebody else who is also doing it too.
There's somebody else, I can't remember his name, but...
Because nobody remembers number 2.
That's right. Yeah, that's probably because he was the one that didn't have the charisma. Anyway, let's continue on. Because they lack extra strokes on their letters, fonts like Arial and Helvetica are called sans what?
Serif.
True types, periods, Romans, or serifs. I think we're going to lock in D without a lifeline. Jeremy knew that one without even looking at the options. Well done, Jeremy. All right, I'm starting to become a Jeremy believer, big time. We're at the $8,000 mark, and we've got 2 lifelines left. In 2010, Barbara Walters joked she chose a cow valve for her heart surgery over one from what non-kosher animal? Horse, goat, pig, or baboon? Pig is the...
I'm going C, pig.
Is the choice of non-kosher animals there. Continuing. Well done. Is Barbara Walters still around?
I don't know.
Don't know. She's beyond the edge of not being. Yeah. Okay, continuing on. Benjamin Franklin once keenly observed that what 2 items stink after 3 days? Gross. Fish and visitors, fish and chips, fish and manure, fish and offal.
I'm going to go with fish and visitors. That seems the right sense of humor. A.
Incredible. Jeremy, I don't know how you got that so confidently. Well done.
That's the one that has humor. That's the direction I went.
Haven't heard it?
No.
Wow.
It's pretty funny though.
Yeah. It's funnier than the other ones, I guess. Containing a deadly toxin, the carefully prepared Japanese delicacy fugu is what type of animal? We've got more charades from Jeremy. Snake, pufferfish, blue-ringed octopus, or redback spider. Which is the fugu,
I'm
Jeremy?
going B, pufferfish.
Pufferfish. Well done. I think I do know that one from a Simpsons episode.
The Simpsons?
Yes. Oh, good old Homer. Ate it. Having nothing to do with their political views, what sport features players labelled as right and left wing? Hurling, handball, hockey, or golf?
I'm leaning towards C. I'm going to say it's definitely not handball or golf, so we're A or C. Hurling does have those... No, that's curling. No, I'm going to go C, hockey.
Hockey. Does hockey have a left and right wing? Let's take a look. It does. Well done,
You
Jeremy.
found my weak category of sports balls.
I love it how you just back yourself in and go for it. It's paying off big time. By definition, a snickerdoodle is a what? Dog breed, candy bar, nosy person, or a cookie?
Ooh, it's both A and D, but I believe the dog breed comes from the cookie, or is it the cookie from the dog breed? So I'm going to go with D, cookie. I feel like the whole blending your dogs to funny names is a more recent invention, and cookies are older. D, cookie.
Love the logic. Jeremy is on fire. 2 questions to go. I think he's definitely going to go all the way. Possibly. Well, he's got 2 lifelines left. It's a bit hard for him to not go all the way. As its name implies, Dwell magazine is dedicated to what subject? Home design, wells, well-being, or infestations?
Okay, that's funny. I'm leaning towards A, home design, and I'm going to lock in A, home design.
No hesitation, no lifeline needed, and a correct answer. Well done, Jeremy. Okay, we've got 1 question to go. We've got 2 lifelines left. Things are looking pretty good for old Jeremy Shapiro. Let's take a look at the final question. Giving it the scientific name of Leviathan melvillei, researchers recently discovered the bones of a prehistoric what? Crocodile, tiger, whale, kangaroo, or whale?
Yeah, I'm going towards A or D. Leviathan is usually an ocean-based mythological creature, and my only ocean one there is whale. So I'm going to go to D, whale.
You're going to lock it in with no lifelines. Let's take a look. If you do this, Jeremy, you're the first person to go all the way with 2 lifelines intact and not even needed them. And that's exactly what's happened. Well done, Jeremy Shapiro. Absolutely cleaned up the board. And you can come back to the champions round once we organise that.
Love it.
Should you ever want to be involved in something like this again. Well done, Jeremy. That was great. Great effort. And now we're going to talk about Jeremy and all of the fantastic things that you have been doing in the Bay Area. Do you want to lead in and with the talk about the Mastermind that you do, or something else that you do, perhaps first?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like at this point I should have prepared a game show of questions for you.
You should.
So for our next show, I'll come back with some quiz questions. That'll be fun.
Yes, I'd be terrified.
Right, but it's I'll spring it on you mid show. It'll be fun. Bonus round. So the Bay Area Mastermind has been around here for almost 2 decades, and we help entrepreneurs, founders, and business owners to get together and really focus on their business. As many of us know, being an entrepreneur can be lonely. It's lonely at the top. And when you surround yourself with like-minded individuals who want nothing but the best for you, you can get that well-needed peer advisory, the camaraderie, people to celebrate your successes and to help you through your challenges. And by having that structured environment with a mastermind, we've created exactly that.
And also, Jeremy, you share things that you're doing, and other people are happy to share with you, and you end up all benefiting as a whole. Do you find that's a big part of it? Like, you find out mind-blowing ways of solving problems?
It's what I find fascinating is when we have people come and test drive our mastermind and join us for the day to see what it's like. They usually have like one big burning question, that thing that's keeping up at night, the thing you want answers to. And so they bring that one question to the room. They also bring them with them the knowledge of their expertise and what they know. So everyone comes into the room with an idea of what they know. They have a big question of something that they know they don't know. But all those big opportunities are really in the areas of what you didn't know you didn't know. So as everyone else is sharing and we're doing everyone else's hot seat, that's where you see really the most notes being taken, the most eye-opening moments. That's when you see the smile creep across someone's face as they jot down just that big light bulb aha moment for them. And that's coming from the things they didn't know they didn't even know. And so those moments, we really love to dive deep into those because that's where we see big business pivots. Someone gets an idea of a total change in direction, a new way to run marketing, a new channel to go after, just a way of doing things differently that the rest of their industry has no idea about, because they're getting it across the table from someone in a totally different business who's just sharing openly about what's going on in their business.
Yeah, it's incredible stuff. And often you'll have something you've done in the past or used in the past, but it didn't quite work. And somebody will suggest a new way that you can actually implement something maybe that you've done in the past and rebirth it, I suppose. And these are things that you're not going to find out yourself. You have to talk to people, and that's how you're going to discover these things and speed up the whole process. And Jeremy, is this all a physical, in-person mastermind? How does this work?
So for almost ever, we're always physically in person. We get together in the same boardroom once a month to spend the day really working on our business. And when the pandemic hit, we switched to a virtual format. And we found that we started attracting members from further afield, people who were coming in at first from other Bay areas. We had folks from the Green Bay area, from the Baltimore Bay area. And we realized that there's lots of Bay areas out there.
Is that because they're Googling Bay Area Mastermind?
Yeah, exactly. And we came up there. And what we realized is, like many great brands that have their origins in a physical location, and so the name harkens to that, but they've since grown beyond, we too are on that same path. So we now have members who've come in internationally from, across the country and everywhere else. And some folks will fly out occasionally during the year to join us for meetings, but many folks will join us on the Zoom portion of that. And we have a really great hybrid setup, so everyone is together, in one real and hybrid physical room.
I gotcha. Awesome. Yes. And what type of founders do you mostly attract and work with? What type of company founders?
Yeah, all of our members, by definition, are post-revenue. They have a thing to sell. They know how to sell that. They have customers, and so the business is running and generating revenue with team in place. On the low end, that might be like a part-time virtual assistant. On the high end, that might be a few dozen employees. Revenue-wise, generally folks are at $500,000 and up per year in revenue. Some are lower, and some are, up in the tens of millions of dollars of revenue, and in between. But commonality-wise, everyone's a lifelong learner, right? We're all avid readers. Everyone's constantly reading books, sharing what they're reading, their insights and takeaways from whatever they're reading. We're all going to conferences, events, courses, investing in ourselves, investing in our business. And we get that idea of this continual, never-ending improvement. And so when you show up with this mindset of, wanting to help others and being open to the feedback from others, really incredible growth can happen in that environment. And we see just that at every single one of our meetings.
Do you find it a challenge for some people to be an open book, so to speak?
Yeah. And so one of the reasons we have our test drive process within our mastermind is it's not fair to the group to suddenly have a new member who's just part of the group. And it doesn't make sense from a prospective member who's looking for a mastermind group like the Bay Area Mastermind to sight unseen join an unknown group and not knowing if they're a fit. So the test drive gives folks a chance to really look for that two-way fit. And one of the things that we look for during that test drive day is this person open to feedback? And are they open to, challenging other members respectfully and lovingly, but asking those questions that can really help folks to move forward? So when you're at the top as an entrepreneur, not many folks will challenge your beliefs. And believe it or not, we all have these limiting beliefs about ourselves, about our business, and so on. And so when you have someone who can, ask you the question that others won't ask you, you can really get some great growth from that. Sometimes that question is around your pricing and suggesting your pricing is too low. And if you have a limiting belief of you're only worth X dollars or your services are only worth, sometimes you're not open to hearing it could be more. On the flip side, you might hear some challenging questions around the way you're operating your businesses or how you're doing your financing. And you have other folks who can lovingly ask you those questions and challenge that belief. And when you surround yourself with people who can bring you up, that is where you can experience great personal and business growth. And we've got just tons of stories about that kind of stuff that happen every single time.
Yes, that's amazing. And, you see with business people, they may have a path that they've taken. It's brought them some success. and there may be several kind of limitations to that path, and nobody around them is ever going to mention it to them. And having people that can say, have you considered doing this because of this reason? And if you can take the blinkers off, you could really become a lot more, I guess, future-proof and, and get to the next level in some ways. So that's...
So many of our members are actually serial entrepreneurs. This isn't just their one and only. This is, their seventh business, or, they have 3 businesses going right now. Or if this is their only business, during their tenure in their mastermind, some new business spins off that fills a gap in their own business, or is a totally different model. And often that next iteration of business eclipses and outgrows the one they came into the group with. And we've seen that so many times because an idea or a conversation that happened in the mastermind meeting, that ignites this spark. The spark kicks off a whole new business direction. And sometimes it's like you were sharing, a pivot that is a new channel, right? Or is an entirely new business model that wouldn't have existed if you stuck with a tunnel vision you had coming into the group.
Awesome. And what's the process if somebody wants to get involved in your group? You have certain requirements. I don't know if you want to talk about how much it costs or anything like that, or if you just want to talk about what's involved in applying.
Yeah, so we have a mastermind application process to join us for a test drive. So you fill out the application. It's a 2-page application. We then hop on a call and go over that. And really what we're looking for is to see, are you a fit for this group? And is this group going to bring value to you? And if you and I both think that's the case, then we invite you to invest in a test drive day with us. So instead of paying normal mastermind membership fees that would be involved in being a member of the group, we have a promo that lets you one time try out the group at a reduced rate. And that still includes, all the benefits that come with membership for that day and getting a hot seat to dive into what's going on with you and your business. And we can talk more about what those hot seats are like. And only after that test drive day, if you think it's a fit and the group thinks it's a fit, do we extend that invitation to join. And the things we're looking for are that your business is that right size, right? That the business is more than just you. You know what you're selling, you know how to sell it, you have sold it, and you actively are generating revenue. There's usually some plateau that our prospective members are feeling. And so we want to make sure that that's something that you're open to getting past, and so you can get back to that growth and start to scale again. And that there's a drive for that entrepreneurial freedom. And we can nerd out about what entrepreneurial freedom is all day long, but it's a frequent topic that comes up. And then during the day, we're really looking for that you're open to receiving feedback from others, and that you're open to asking questions of others as well. We really want to see that you're going to get benefit from that multi-way peer advisory. And if you're a good fit for the group, then that's when we extend that invitation to invest in a membership with us longer term beyond just that one day.
And speaking of good fits, what type of businesses do you find tend to be the ones that get the most benefit from this mastermind?
Yeah, so we work exclusively with entrepreneurs and founders, and meaning you're actually the business owner, right? So sometimes folks come in and they're like, a real estate agent or a financial advisor, and they're working for some company. And while they sort of are an independent, they still have to answer to a broader company's policies, marketing materials, approvals, and all that kind of stuff. And so those folks wouldn't be a good fit. And so whenever we're not sure, some of the questions I like to ask are, if you decided you want to, triple your price tomorrow, could you, with a stroke of a pen, make that change? If you decide you want to do your own wild marketing, could you go out and do that? Or is there somebody else in the business, a boss or manager, who's going to, say that's against, some policy we have internally, right? And so that's one of those litmus tests we do. Can you decide to launch a new product, change your pricing, change direction, all that? For business owners, absolutely. For, independents who are working for a different company, not so much.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that we're
franchisors.
Yeah. And depending on the franchise, there can be some flexibility, but often if you have a franchise, you don't have as much freedom, right? You've got to, use the approved suppliers and vendors, use the approved marketing and so on. So those aren't fits because you'll get feedback about what you can do and your hands will be tied by corporate, right? So that's not going to be a good fit. But industry-wise, we have folks cross industries, and that's really where we see this beautiful cross-pollination of ideas, right? You have someone who's sharing what's working in their industry, and someone in a totally different industry is able to see a way to use that in their own industry and ask the questions, right? So one of the examples I love to share is you have like a traditional attorney barrister operating a brick and mortar, a legal shop, and you have an e-commerce company who's sharing about what they're doing to grow their business. And so you have the e-commerce company who they send an email out and money comes in the door. Every time they email, more money comes in. And the attorney is looking at the e-commerce person saying, well, how are you doing that? And the e-commerce person shares the resources and vendors. And then the attorney is sharing how they use direct mail in their business. And you have the e-commerce company looking and saying, wait, people still send things out in the post and make money every time they send things out? Well, what vendors are you using? Do you use a postcard or do you use a letter? Do you use lumpy mail? What is the strategy you use successfully? And so you get these industries sharing ideas across those lines. Whereas if you went to your industry trade group or your trade show for your industry, everyone's doing the same thing in the same ways. Really, where you get to be a disruptor and do things differently is when you hear those ideas across industries. And that's exactly what happens in the boardroom at a mastermind meeting.
Yes, I'm a big believer in these types of groups. And do you have any people that you can mention as being part of it, or is it a bit confidential?
Yeah, so one of the nice things about being a member of the group is the membership is confidential, right? So what you share behind those closed doors, those conversations are confidential because that lets you really be vulnerable and talk about the real numbers of what's happening, financially in the company. It lets you talk about your real wins and your real challenges. It lets you talk about, a pending legal issue or financial challenge or whatever else is going on that you might not talk about with others. You can really open up behind closed doors and share. This lets you talk about the marketing strategy. That's like this super ninja strategy. No one else, if only your competitors knew, they eat your lunch, but what's going on. You can share that because you're in a safe space to do that. And if we had that more open, where we'd be able to talk about those specifics more openly, then folks wouldn't be as open to sharing what's really going on in the business. So that's
and they do share what's going on. Is that most people open up the books and show you, or some do, or do you make everyone show that? I
mean, look, it's not a requirement, but we all get better growth from that. So an example of this kind of opportunity is someone sharing about what's going on with their marketing and their business, and they're sharing what's happening with their ad spend, right? So they're sharing real world expenses, and on a screen share, they might pull up, their Google AdWords or their Facebook ads and go through the campaigns. And we're looking at the real numbers of what's happening. And we then get to ask the deep dive funnel questions of, well, hang on, like we can see your cost per click, but like, let's talk about the cost per acquisition and customer lifetime value. Well, how many sales are you getting per month, right? So we really get into it, because that's where you find sometimes folks have those blinders on, right? So for example, you'll have a business owner who's sharing that, they'll spend $300 to acquire a new customer, right? And somebody else looks across the table and says like, that's ridiculous. Why would you ever spend that much money to find a new customer? Your product is only $100, right? That makes no sense. And I would never do that. But then you get into it and that person can share that they know their customer lifetime value is, say, $1,200. So they're happy to give away that $3 to get that 12 back out. And that can be an eye-opening moment for somebody else who's not looking at total customer lifetime value, but is looking at the single transaction. And they might not know how loss leaders can work, or how to even calculate customer lifetime value. So when we get into the real numbers, we can actually start to we have a process to iteratively improve your funnel, whether it's your top of funnel, your bottom of funnel, your hiring funnel, whatever it is. We have a process we use that can help to improve that, but it only makes sense if you're tracking your numbers. And here's the shocking thing, Julian. Many business owners are terrible at tracking the actual numbers in their business. And they've got spreadsheets and dashboards and things all over the place, but it's not in one place to really look at each conversion point in the funnel along the way.
Yes, you really need that info, especially if you're doing paid advertising, because essentially for it to work, you need to have that kind of small front end sales with the the lifetime value on the back to make it profitable. And that's some of the things you can learn about in Jeremy's mastermind called the Bay Area Mastermind. It's not just restricted to people in the Bay Area. Anybody that fits the criteria and has a company that's already operating and generating revenue of a certain size, probably if you are interested, head over to Jeremy's website and check out the info about the, what do you call it, the test drive?
Yep, the test drive right there at bayareamastermind.com. You'll see we mention the test drive everywhere. So we invite you to learn more about the group and submit an application. There's no cost to submit an application. And then we hop on the phone, we talk about it. Just that application process is often eye-opening for many, realizing some of the opportunities that might be there in their business and, what a group has to offer.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's often hard to find good groups. So if you're interested and you see the value, which you really should, have a chat to Jeremy. And who knows, it could be the start of an amazing relationship. So thank you very much, Jeremy Shapiro, for coming on.
Thanks for having me on. This was fun.
Wonderful. And thanks for listening or watching. I'm going to wrap things up. I'll see you very soon on another episode. Thank you. Bye.